The orange glow of the setting sun filtered through the thick atmosphere of Gliese 581G, bathing the alien world in a surreal, golden haze. The air carried a faint metallic tang, mingled with the sweet, musky aroma of alien vegetation. A low, rhythmic hum resonated through the environment, a sound that seemed to emanate from the very ground beneath one's feet, harmonizing with the soft chirps of unseen creatures in the distance. Its twin moons hung lazily in the sky, casting long, faint shadows over the sprawling alien city that stretched into the horizon. It was a city unlike anything seen on Earth. Towering spires of bioluminescent coral-like structures pulsated gently, as if alive. Unlike Earth's skyscrapers of steel and glass, which stood rigid and lifeless, these structures seemed to breathe, their surfaces undulating softly as though responding to the rhythm of the planet itself. The air buzzed faintly with an unearthly hum, a sound created by the unique resonances of the alien architecture and their technology. This was the heart of the Shalrek civilization, a species known across the galaxy for their mastery of quantum engineering and their profound disdain for humanity's so-called technological advancements. Primitive tools for a primitive species, one Shalrek diplomat had famously said during an intergalactic council, as they presented a quantum energy generator capable of powering an entire planet. The insult had stung, not just for its condescension but because it highlighted humanity's underdog status. Other civilizations had laughed, showcasing their own marvels, while Earth's delegation had stood quietly, clutching the blueprints of a barely functional warp drive. For humanity, it was a moment of humiliation, but also a catalyst for a relentless drive to prove their worth on the galactic stage. The statement was met with snickers from other alien races and quietly endured by the human delegation. But Earth's representatives had never forgotten it. Though humanity had entered the interstellar community only recently, their ingenuity and adaptability often went unnoticed amidst the grandeur of more advanced civilizations. Until now. On the outskirts of the Shalrek city, nestled in a clearing of the dense, alien jungle, sat the temporary human base. It was a stark contrast to the organic elegance of the Shalrek structures. Built with functional modularity, the metallic shelters gleamed under the alien sun, a reminder of humanity's pragmatic approach to survival. Inside the main command tent, Commander Elena Vasquez paced in front of a holomap, her boots clanging softly against the steel floor. Elena was a career officer in the United Earth Space Command, known for her calm demeanor and razor-sharp intellect. Her dark eyes burned with frustration as she surveyed the chaotic data feeds streaming in from various sources. The team had been sent to Gliese 581G to negotiate a technological exchange agreement with the Shalrek. The mission had seemed straightforward: establish goodwill, learn what they could, and demonstrate humanity's potential as a worthy ally. But things had taken an unexpected turn. "You're telling me the Shalrek invited us here for a competition?" Elena said, her voice edged with disbelief. Across the table, Dr. Haruki Mori, a physicist and lead scientist on the team, nodded hesitantly. He adjusted his glasses and frowned at the holographic document before him. "That's what it says," Haruki replied. "They've organized a technological showcase. Each participating species will present their most advanced invention, and the Shalrek will determine which one is," he hesitated, searching for the right words, "worthy of their interest. So, they want to turn this into a galactic science fair?" Elena muttered, throwing her hands up. "What's next? A talent show?" "Commander, this isn't just about showing off," interjected Lieutenant Raj Patel, the team's communications specialist. "The Shalrek have structured this event as a direct challenge. They want to humiliate us, prove that humanity is too primitive to compete on their level." Elena sighed, pinching the bridge of her nose. The Shalrek's disdain for humanity was well documented, but this felt personal. "What exactly are the rules of this little competition?" she asked, trying to keep her voice level. Haruki gestured to the hologram. "Each species submits a single piece of technology, something representative of their civilization's ingenuity. The Shalrek judges will evaluate its utility, creativity, and," he paused, grimacing slightly, "and its elegance." "Elegance," Elena repeated, her tone dripping with sarcasm. "Because that's what matters in a life-or-death survival scenario." The room fell silent as the team considered their options. Humanity had made great strides in recent decades, but compared to the galaxy's older civilizations, their advancements were still rudimentary. The Shalrek's technological marvels were practically magic by comparison. How could they compete? A loud clatter broke the silence. All heads turned to see Sergeant Jack Monroe, the team's engineer, stumbling through the doorway with a toolbox in hand. His grease-stained uniform and perpetually disheveled hair gave him the appearance of a mad scientist on a caffeine binge. "Sorry, Commander," Jack said, waving a wrench for emphasis. "I overheard, and, I might have an idea." Elena raised an eyebrow. "I'm listening." Jack grinned and set the toolbox down with a heavy thud, his easy confidence masking the brilliance that had earned him his reputation as one of Earth's most resourceful engineers. With grease-streaked hands and a perpetually untidy mop of brown hair, Jack had an air of chaotic genius about him, the kind of person who could jury-rig a starship's engine with duct tape and spare parts if it meant survival. His blue eyes sparkled with a mischievous glint, as if he thrived on challenges that everyone else deemed impossible. "Look, the Shalrek and their fancy tech are all about efficiency and complexity. They'll expect us to showcase some hyper-advanced gadget that's trying too hard to impress. But what if we go the opposite direction?" "Opposite?" Haruki asked, frowning. "How do you mean?" Jack's grin widened as he pulled a battered device from the toolbox. It was an old mechanical tool, simple in design but impeccably crafted. "This," he said, holding it up, "is a manual fire starter. No batteries, no quantum nonsense, just a reliable way to make fire. Works in any environment. Hell, you can even fix it with a rock if you have to." The team stared at the device, dumbfounded. "You want to enter a fire starter into an intergalactic technology showcase?" Elena asked incredulously. "Exactly," Jack replied, his eyes sparkling with mischief. "Think about it. The Shalrek are so advanced they've probably forgotten what it means to survive without their tech. This little gadget, it's the ultimate symbol of human ingenuity, simplicity, practicality, resilience." Elena opened her mouth to argue but stopped herself. There was a certain logic to Jack's idea. The Shalrek would never expect such a humble submission. And perhaps that was the point. "All right, Monroe," she said finally. "We'll play it your way. But if this backfires, you'll be explaining it to Earth Command." Jack saluted with mock seriousness. "Wouldn't have it any other way, The next day, the team arrived at the Shalrek's Grand Amphitheater, a massive crystalline structure that shimmered like a giant gemstone. Representatives from other species milled about, each accompanied by their own technological marvels. A delegation from the Zorlan Empire unveiled a gravity manipulation device that could reshape planetary landscapes. The Krelak Confederacy demonstrated a nanobot swarm capable of self-replicating indefinitely. Each presentation was more dazzling than the last. When it was humanity's turn, the amphitheater fell silent. Elena and Jack stepped forward, the fire starter gleaming in Jack's hands. Whispers rippled through the crowd as they realized what the humans had brought. Laughter soon followed. "Primitive tools for a primitive species," someone sneered, echoing the infamous insult. Jack ignored the jeers and held the fire starter high. "This device," he began, "represents humanity's greatest strength, our ability to adapt, to survive, and to overcome. It may look simple, but it embodies centuries of ingenuity and practicality. In any environment, under any circumstances, this tool can save a life. It is proof that sometimes, the simplest solutions are the most elegant." The Shalrek judges exchanged bemused glances before signaling for a demonstration. Jack stepped forward, struck the fire starter against a piece of flint, and ignited a small flame. The amphitheater erupted in laughter and derision. The Zorlans hissed their amusement, their serpentine bodies quivering as they exchanged mocking glances. The Krelak, with their bulbous, insectoid frames, chittered in a series of rapid clicks that sounded like a derisive chant. Even the stoic Tralvok delegates, known for their emotionless demeanor, allowed themselves a rare display of contempt, their crystalline faces flickering with brief flashes of light that signified disdain. But as the flame flickered to life, something unexpected happened. One of the Shalrek judges, an elder named Lyrak, leaned forward, her bioluminescent eyes narrowing with interest. "Fascinating," Lyrak murmured, her voice barely audible. She gestured for silence, and the crowd fell quiet. "Tell me, human. In a scenario where your advanced technologies fail, how would this device fare?" Jack grinned. "It would work, every time." Lyrak's expression shifted, a mixture of curiosity and respect. The other judges whispered among themselves, their laughter replaced by thoughtful murmurs. For the first time since their arrival, humanity had the galaxy's attention. As Elena watched the judges deliberate, a flicker of hope sparked within her. Jack's gamble might just pay off. But deep down, she knew this was only the beginning. The Shalrek wouldn't make it easy for them. Whatever came next, humanity would have to prove that their ingenuity wasn't just a fluke, it was a force to be reckoned with. The day after humanity's unconventional submission, the Shalrek judges announced the continuation of the competition. Each species had to defend their entry in a series of simulated scenarios designed to test its practical value. The amphitheater, now teeming with a mix of curiosity and skepticism, buzzed with anticipation. The Zorlans hissed quietly among themselves, their serpentine forms coiling in faint amusement, while the Tralvok delegates observed in stoic silence, their crystalline faces refracting the light. The insectoid Krelak clattered their mandibles softly, their multifaceted eyes narrowing with what might have been disdain, while a group of gelatinous Zorth pulsed faintly, their colors shifting in curious rhythm. Whispers of doubt surrounded humanity's entry as alien delegates speculated how a simple firestarter could possibly endure rigorous tests against quantum marvels. In the human camp, tensions ran high. Commander Elena Vasquez stood at the center of their makeshift operations room, her hands gripping the edge of the holomap table. The team had spent the night preparing for the unexpected, running simulations and debating strategies. Despite their meticulous planning, uncertainty loomed. "Jack," Elena began, turning to the engineer who was busy tinkering with a portable demonstration kit. "Are you absolutely sure about this? One misstep, and they'll label us as nothing more than an amusing footnote in intergalactic history." Jack Monroe straightened, his usual mischievous grin replaced with a rare seriousness. In his mind, he replayed years of survival training and countless engineering challenges, knowing this moment could define humanity's reputation in the galaxy. He couldn't help but feel a flicker of pride and defiance, a determination to prove that even the simplest tools could embody ingenuity and resilience. "Commander, I'm telling you, simplicity is our ace. These tests will likely overcomplicate things to favor advanced tech. But that's where we shine. No batteries to fail, no circuits to short out. It's just us, fire, and physics." Elena exhaled, not entirely reassured but willing to trust her team's intuition. "All right, let's do this." The first simulation was announced, an emergency survival scenario. Gasps and murmurs rippled through the audience, with some species exchanging skeptical glances and others leaning forward in keen anticipation. The sharp chitter of the Krelak contrasted with the muted hum of the Tralvok, while the Zortha's colors shifted to a bright orange, a universal sign of focused interest. A holographic projection of a desolate, icy wasteland filled the amphitheater as the voice of the Shalrek judge, Lyrak, echoed through the chamber. "You find yourselves stranded in an Arctic environment following the catastrophic failure of your primary systems. Your task is to establish a source of heat and sustain it long enough to signal for rescue." The Zorlans stepped forward first, presenting their gravity manipulation device. Their demonstration was impressive, bending atmospheric particles to create a localized pocket of heated air. Applause rippled through the crowd, accompanied by murmurs of approval. Next came the Krelak, whose nanobots constructed an intricate network of insulated shelters in minutes. The efficiency and precision of the bots drew audible gasps from the audience. Finally, it was humanity's turn. The amphitheater fell into a tense hush, as eyes from every corner of the galaxy turned toward the humans, the air thick with expectation. The faint hum of the amphitheater's crystalline walls seemed to amplify the silence, and the flicker of bioluminescent lights reflected off countless alien faces, creating a surreal mosaic of focus. Jack walked confidently to the center of the amphitheater, carrying the same fire starter that had been ridiculed the day before. He knelt down on the simulated icy terrain and began his demonstration. The crowd's laughter was immediate, but Jack ignored it, his focus unwavering. He struck the fire starter against the flint, producing sparks that quickly ignited the small bundle of kindling he'd prepared. As the flames grew, Jack leaned back, letting the simplicity of his demonstration speak for itself. He turned to the judges and said, "This fire starter doesn't rely on gravity fields or nanotech. It's dependable, repairable, and works anywhere. Even here." The judges watched silently, their expressions inscrutable. Lyrak stepped forward, crouching near the fire. She reached out, her elongated fingers tracing the warmth radiating from the flames. A primitive solution, she mused, but undeniably effective. It would function where more complex systems might fail. Intriguing. The murmurs in the amphitheater shifted in tone, ranging from skeptical disbelief to quiet admiration. The Zorlans exchanged uneasy glances, their serpentine tails twitching in unison, while a Tralvox refracted glow pulsed faintly, signaling curiosity. Even the Krelak's rapid mandible movements slowed, a rare indication of thoughtful consideration. While some remained dismissive, others nodded in quiet acknowledgement. Humanity had survived the first test, though their unorthodox approach continued to raise eyebrows. The second challenge followed swiftly. This time, the simulation involved an urban disaster, a towering inferno consuming a densely populated cityscape. The objective was to control the fire and ensure the safe evacuation of holographic civilians. Once again, the alien competitors dazzled. The Zorlans used their gravity device to suppress flames by isolating oxygen pockets, while the Krelak's nanobots constructed firebreaks with machine-like efficiency. Each solution was precise and flawless, and entirely dependent on their creators' advanced technologies. When it was humanity's turn, Elena joined Jack in the center. Together, they carried additional tools, fire blankets, a manual pump, and buckets of water. The simplicity of their approach drew scattered laughter from the audience. "We're not here to outshine anyone with spectacle," Elena announced, addressing the crowd. "Our solution focuses on what's achievable with minimal resources." The team's strategy was methodical. They contained the holographic flames using the fire blankets, suppressing the spread while working tirelessly to douse the fire with water. The holographic civilians were directed to safety through makeshift corridors created by the team. By the end of their demonstration, the fire was controlled, and the simulated population had been evacuated. While their performance lacked the grandeur of the alien technologies, it demonstrated adaptability, teamwork, and resourcefulness. The judges conferred in low voices, their expressions a mixture of intrigue and skepticism. The third and final challenge loomed, a hostile environment survival test. The simulation transported competitors to an alien jungle teeming with dangerous wildlife and unpredictable terrain. The objective was to navigate the jungle, secure shelter, and survive for 24 hours. The Zorlans, with their gravity manipulation device, crafted a floating platform that carried them safely above the jungle floor. The Krelak deployed their nanobots to construct a fortified base, complete with automated defense systems. Both solutions drew awe from the spectators. When humanity's turn came, Jack and Elena stepped forward, their faces resolute. This time, they carried only basic tools, knives, ropes, and the fire starter. The simulation began, and the pair immediately set to work. They identified a defensible location and constructed a rudimentary shelter from available materials. Using the fire starter, they built a small fire to keep predators at bay and signal for help. Their survival instincts and adaptability shone as they navigated the challenges of the jungle, from avoiding carnivorous plants to improvising weapons against holographic predators. When the 24 hours elapsed, the simulation ended, and the amphitheater erupted in applause. Some of it was polite, some genuinely impressed, though much seemed directed at the simulation spectacle. The Zorlans hissed subdued approval, their coils relaxing slightly, while the Krelak chittered in tones that hinted at begrudging respect. Even the Zortha's colors shifted to a mellow green, a hue associated with quiet acknowledgement of skill. Still, There was no denying that the humans had achieved the objective with nothing but their wits and their humble tools. As the judges deliberated, Elena and Jack returned to their team, exhaustion etched into their faces. They had survived the tests, but the true challenge lay ahead, convincing the Shalrek that humanity's resilience was a strength, not a weakness. Hours passed before Lyrak and the other judges returned to the amphitheater. The crowd fell silent as she stepped forward, her luminous eyes scanning the competitors. "We have reached a decision," Lyrak announced. Each entry displayed remarkable ingenuity and showcased the strengths of its creators. However, one stood out for its unconventional approach. The amphitheater held its collective breath. Lyrak's gaze settled on the human delegation. "Humanity," she said, her voice steady, "your solutions were simple, yet effective. In scenarios where advanced technology falters, your methods prove that survival is possible through adaptability and resourcefulness. You have reminded us that complexity is not always superior." Murmurs rippled through the crowd as Lyrak continued. "While your firestarter may lack the elegance we typically value, it represents a principle we have perhaps overlooked: the beauty of resilience. Humanity's entry has earned our respect." The amphitheater erupted in mixed reactions, applause from some, disbelief from others. Elena and Jack exchanged relieved smiles as their team celebrated quietly. For the first time, humanity had proven that their greatest strength wasn't in competing with advanced technologies, but in showcasing the enduring power of their ingenuity and will to survive. And though the journey was far from over, they had taken a crucial step toward earning their place in the galaxy. The amphitheater's crystalline walls shimmered as the final and most grueling phase of the competition was announced. The Shalrek judges had saved their most challenging test for last, a full-scale simulated crisis combining multiple disasters at once. This was no ordinary challenge, it was a culmination of all their skills, designed to push every competitor to their absolute limit and expose the cracks in even the most advanced technology. For humanity, it was an uphill battle, armed only with ingenuity and grit against technologies that bordered on miraculous. As the details unfolded, the amphitheater buzzed with murmurs of both excitement and trepidation. The scenario would involve a failing orbital station spiraling toward a densely populated planet, threatening catastrophic loss of life. Competitors would need to neutralize the threat, evacuate civilians, and mitigate collateral damage. Commander Elena Vasquez felt the weight of the moment settle on her shoulders as she listened intently. This wasn't just about technology anymore. The test was a crucible of ingenuity, leadership, and determination, qualities that humanity had always relied upon to endure. She glanced at her team, each member focused and prepared. Jack Monroe's eyes sparkled with anticipation, while Dr. Haruki Mori reviewed the specifications of the simulation. Lieutenant Raj Patel tightened his grip on his datapad, ready to coordinate the human effort. The first competitors to step forward were the Zorlans. With their gravity manipulation device, they swiftly stabilized the orbital station, halting its descent and redirecting its trajectory toward an uninhabited part of the planet. The precision of their technology was undeniable, and the crowd erupted in applause as they completed their task with minimal disruption. Next came the Krelak Confederacy. Their nanobot swarm infiltrated the orbital station, repairing its failing systems while simultaneously creating escape pods for the stranded inhabitants. The efficiency of their solution left the audience in awe. The Krelak delegation basked in the accolades, their chittering language carrying tones of smug satisfaction. Finally, it was humanity's turn. The amphitheater fell silent as Elena led her team to the center stage. They had no gravity manipulation devices or self-replicating nanobots. What they did have was a plan, a daring, high-stakes plan that relied on timing, teamwork, and unrelenting resolve. "Let's get to work," Elena said, her voice steady and commanding. The simulation began. The orbital station, a massive structure bristling with failing systems, loomed above a holographic city teeming with simulated civilians. Fires raged across the station's surface, and explosions punctuated the chaos as sections of the station began to collapse. The planet below was in turmoil, its population scrambling to evacuate under the looming shadow of destruction. Elena divided her team into specialized units. She took a deep breath, steadying herself. For a moment, doubts flickered in her mind, but she dismissed them quickly. Raj, you're on coordination. Keep the evacuation routes clear and get those civilians out. For a brief moment, she doubted if they could pull it off, but the sight of her determined team reignited her confidence. Haruki, focus on stabilizing the station's core systems. Jack, you and I will handle the structural damage and the fires. Each member sprang into action. Raj tapped furiously on his datapad, interfacing with the simulation's evacuation protocols. Using a combination of manual overrides and improvised solutions, he rerouted panicked crowds away from dangerous zones, creating safe corridors through the city. His calm, strategic communication cut through the chaos like a lifeline. Haruki, stationed at a simulation control console, assessed the station's failing systems. He quickly identified a critical issue. The station's reactor was moments away from a meltdown. With no advanced tools at his disposal, Haruki relied on ingenuity. He devised a workaround to vent the excess energy into a nearby subsystem, buying precious time to prevent a catastrophic explosion. Meanwhile, Elena and Jack worked side by side on the station itself. Clad in simulation-generated exosuits, they navigated the crumbling structure with grim determination. Jack's mechanical expertise came to life as he jury-rigged supports to stabilize key sections of the station, all while extinguishing fires with nothing more than portable extinguishers and foam cannons. Elena's leadership shone as she coordinated their efforts, making split-second decisions that kept them alive. "We've got a hull breach ahead," Jack shouted over the roar of simulated flames. "Seal it and move on," Elena ordered, her voice firm. "We've got civilians to save." As they worked, the amphitheater's audience watched in stunned silence. The contrast between humanity's manual, labor-intensive approach and the sleek efficiency of their competitors was stark. Gasps rippled through the audience as they watched the humans tackle the chaos head-on, their brute determination sparking a mix of skepticism and awe. The Krelak's mandibles clicked nervously, while the Zorland's tails coiled tighter as they observed with reluctant fascination. Yet there was something compelling about the sheer grit and determination on display. For every problem their tools couldn't solve, they found a way. Improvising, adapting, and pressing forward. The climax of the simulation approached. The station's reactor, though temporarily stabilized, began to fail once more. The environment crackled with tension, flames roared, alarms blared, and the structure groaned ominously under the strain. The acrid scent of burning metal mixed with the searing heat that radiated through the unstable corridors. Haruki's voice crackled through the comms. "Commander, we're out of time. If we don't shut this thing down now, it's going to blow." Elena's mind raced. "Jack, can you get us access to the core?" "I'll make a path," Jack replied, already moving. The team pushed forward, navigating through debris and flames. When they reached the reactor, it was a chaotic tangle of failing systems and glowing conduits. Haruki guided them remotely, relaying instructions as Elena and Jack worked in tandem to manually shut down the reactor. Sweat poured down their faces as the reactor's temperature climbed dangerously high. "Almost there," Jack grunted, his hands moving with frantic precision. "Hurry," Haruki urged. "The containment field is destabilizing." With a final, desperate effort, Elena slammed a manual override lever, and the reactor's core powered down. The station shuddered but held together. The simulated planet erupted in cheers as its holographic population was saved from disaster. In the amphitheater, the audience's reaction was electric. Some aliens clapped in reluctant admiration, while others exchanged murmurs of grudging respect. The room's energy shifted palpably, curiosity and reconsideration replacing much of the earlier skepticism. The amphitheater's audience broke into applause, some standing in a show of respect. Even among the skeptical Zorlands and the proud Krelak, there were murmurs of genuine admiration. Humanity's performance had been far from elegant, but it had been undeniably effective. Lyrak, the Shalrek elder, approached the human delegation as the simulation ended. Her luminous eyes studied Elena and her team with an intensity that bordered on reverence. "You have demonstrated remarkable ingenuity and resilience," Lyrak said. "Your methods are unconventional, but they are a testament to your species' strength. In the face of overwhelming odds, You do not falter. This is a lesson we would do well to remember. Elena nodded, her exhaustion giving way to quiet pride. Thank you, Elder Lyrak. We're just doing what we've always done, finding a way to survive. As the human delegation left the amphitheater that day, the galaxy's perception of humanity had begun to shift. The Zorlans, known for their condescension, exchanged uncertain glances, while the Krelax mandibles clicked in subdued acknowledgement. Even the Shalrek delegates watched the humans with a newfound respect, their glowing eyes betraying a hint of admiration. It was as though they were reconsidering humanity not just as participants, but as potential allies with an invaluable perspective on survival and adaptability. No longer were they seen as primitive or inconsequential. They were survivors, relentless, resourceful, and unyielding. And for the first time, humanity's place among the stars felt truly earned. The amphitheater stood silent as Lyrak stepped forward, her presence commanding the attention of every being in the room. The Shalrek elder's bioluminescent gaze lingered on humanity's delegation, her expression one of contemplative intrigue. Around her, murmurs of anticipation rippled through the crowd as the results of the competition loomed. Today, Lyrak began, her voice resonant and steady, we have witnessed remarkable feats of innovation and resilience. Each participant has demonstrated their unique strengths and approaches to survival, creativity, and adaptability. But one performance stands apart, not for its sophistication, but for its profound simplicity. Elena Vasquez felt the weight of Lyrak's words press against her chest. She stood alongside her team, their faces etched with exhaustion and quiet resolve. Jack Monroe adjusted the collar of his uniform, his grease-streaked hands folded behind his back. Dr. Haruki Mori's usually composed expression betrayed a flicker of nervousness, while Lieutenant Raj Patel's fingers hovered over his datapad, ready to record whatever came next. Lyrak's gaze swept over the gathered competitors. The Shalrek Prize for this competition is not merely an acknowledgement of superior technology, it is a recognition of the qualities that ensure survival and growth in the face of adversity, qualities that resonate across the galaxy. Humanity's ability to transform a simple tool into a lifeline under pressure exemplified this truth, as demonstrated in the challenges they faced. It is an acknowledgement of a perspective we, as an advanced civilization, may have overlooked. Humanity's methods, though unconventional, embody principles that transcend machinery, ingenuity, resilience, and the ability to adapt under the most dire circumstances. A ripple of surprise coursed through the crowd. The Zorlans exchanged stunned glances, their serpentine bodies stiffening, while the Krelax mandibles clicked nervously. Even the usually stoic Tralvok delegates emitted faint pulses of light, betraying their astonishment, a rare emotional display for a species that valued precision and logical detachment above all else. The Krelax mandibles clicked rhythmically in what might have been grudging acceptance. Even the Tralvok delegates, whose crystalline faces rarely betrayed emotion, flickered with faint pulses of light. Lyrak continued, her tone shifting to one of reverence. When your tools fail, when systems collapse, when chaos reigns, it is the spirit of survival that triumphs. Humanity has reminded us of this truth, one we had long since dismissed in our pursuit of perfection. Lyrak's voice softened as she added, perhaps this lesson will guide us as we move forward, reshaping how we view not just technology, but ourselves. Lyrak paused, as though imagining a future where collaboration might replace competition among the stars. The amphitheater erupted in applause, though it was laced with a mixture of reactions. Some delegates clapped enthusiastically, while others exchanged hesitant glances, their expressions a mix of reluctance and admiration. The Zorth pulsed a soft green, signaling their tentative acceptance. For a species that communicated primarily through color shifts, this hue was a rare acknowledgement of respect for humanity's resourcefulness. Some species clapped reluctantly, others in earnest admiration. Yet it was undeniable, the humans had won not just the competition but something far more meaningful, a measure of respect that had seemed unattainable before. Elena stepped forward to accept the honor. Her voice was steady, but emotion tinged her words. Thank you, Elder Lyrak, and to all gathered here today. Humanity has always been about finding a way not just to survive, but to grow, to learn, and to connect. We hope this moment serves not only as recognition of what we've accomplished, but as a foundation for collaboration and understanding between our species. As she finished, the Shalrek's amphitheater shifted into a celebratory hum. Delegates from various species approached the human delegation, offering congratulatory remarks, handshakes, and tentative smiles. Even the proud Zorlans and the aloof Krelak seemed softened, their disdain replaced by cautious curiosity. In the hours that followed, humanity's fire starter became a symbol, not of primitive simplicity, but of enduring ingenuity. Shalrek engineers debated its design, questioning how simplicity could achieve such profound impact, while philosophers among the Tralvok began to explore its metaphorical implications, crafting parables about survival and ingenuity inspired by the fire starter. Replicas of the humble device were displayed across the amphitheater, sparking discussions among alien engineers and philosophers alike. The humans, once seen as the underdogs, now stood at the center of the galactic community, their contributions reshaping perspectives far beyond what they had imagined. As the delegation prepared to leave Gliese 581G, Jack couldn't help but grin. "Guess simplicity's got its perks, he said, turning to Elena. She smirked, shaking her head. "I think it's more than simplicity, Jack. It's about remembering where we came from, and what it means to push forward no matter the odds." Haruki chimed in, his tone contemplative. "And maybe, just maybe, we reminded them of something they'd forgotten." As the human ship lifted off, the twin moons of Gliese 581G cast their light over the alien city, their glow reflected in the shimmering spires of the Shalrek. Inside the ship, Elena gazed out the viewport, her heart heavy with both the weight of responsibility and the thrill of possibility. She thought of the alliances yet to be forged and the challenges ahead, imagining negotiations with the Zorlans or joint research with the Shalrek. Humanity's place among the stars would require not just courage, but wisdom and collaboration, a balance they were ready to pursue. Humanity had proven itself not just as a survivor, but as a force of change and collaboration in the galaxy. For the first time in generations, the stars seemed closer than ever, not as an empty expanse to conquer, but as a vast community to join. Humanity's journey had only just begun.